Hey guys, Angel Legend here. It's tutorial time again. Today we're going to be talking about reinforcing your armor pieces. Whether you've built it out of a Pepakura build or not, and you've decided to use either plastic to reinforce it, or if you decided to use fiberglass to reinforce it, the toughest parts always reinforced are going to be your outside edges, like right here. I mean, if you're using a self-leveling plastic, on the insides here is going to be where your strongest portions are, but these outside edges always take a back seat to strength. You can see right here on mine, it's got way too much flex. I don't want that to be inside there. So instead of having to go with more fiberglass fail, put it inside there with some aqua resin, then have to resand that down and deal with that itchiness under the suit. And instead of having to use more smooth cast 320, which I'm out of currently, I've elected to use some plumber's epoxy putty. Now, I know I've talked about this before in some previous videos. You can use either this is the Loctite brand, or Steel Stick works great as well. This one's graded at 1400 psi, this one's graded at 900 psi, which means nothing for your suit because, well, I guess I wouldn't say nothing, but you're not pumping air through your suit, but it does mean that it will hold, it'll be really strong. You won't have to worry about it breaking off. I can show you a piece here that I was working on yesterday. The upper portion of this bicep here, I've run some Steel Stick all around the inside there to strengthen it up, because being that it is a bicep piece, it's going to be moving constantly, especially on my arms. If I'm doing photo ops, slapping high fives with somebody at a con, it's going to have a lot of flex that I don't want. So putting that little rim around the outside there harden that bad boy up, so I don't have to worry about this flaking off, chipping, or anything. And if you're using plastic, sometimes it'll peel off in sheets. You can either nip that in the bud by just running a little piece of super glue, a little bead of super glue along where the seam is, and then adding your plumber's epoxy putty on top of that. Or you could just do the plumber's epoxy putty and just negate the super glue altogether. I'll show you right here on my torso armor here. I even did some reinforcement of the bottom portion here. This is where it'll be making contact with my stomach, and this is the weakest point of the entire thing. Now just running a little seam of this, just from end to end here, has strengthened this entire piece up. Even on the edges here, around the outside, strengthens all that up, and it in turn, just putting it about maybe 2 inches back inside there, will strengthen this whole arm up more than I anticipated. Under where my shoulders will be making contact is another usual weak spot. You can see back inside there I put plumber's epoxy putty on both those areas there, because that's where it's going to be sitting on me, getting the most wear. So, I mean, you don't have to do this, but it will strengthen up your suit and help it stand the test of time a lot better. So this is my cod piece. This is the front of it. Like I said, it's got too much flex on those sides. I don't want that to be there. So easiest way to fix that up, as opposed to running more veil inside there with fiberglass, dealing with all that nonsense, take your Steel Stick or your plumber's epoxy putty. Like I said, Loctite is the cheapest. You can get these for $3.98 at Walmart, and a little bit of this stuff goes a long way. All you need is a knife you don't care too much about, because this has got Bondo, putty, all kinds of stuff all over it. Cut off a small section, like maybe a little more than 1/4 of an inch. Now this stuff will be sticky, and you will get some of this residue on your hands. It comes off pretty easy with soap and water. And when you work with it, fold it over a couple times just to start it, so you can get those two colors to start blending. Then the fastest way to get this to mix, because this will set pretty quickly, is to roll it in your hands until it's almost like it starts to elongate, almost like a little snake. Fold that over like a potter would if they're throwing clay. They'll roll it out to a cone. They'll fold it in on itself. They'll roll it out to a cone again, fold it in on itself, until you see that color start to blend. This will turn almost completely white by the time it's fully mixed in. The Steel Stick will turn pretty much black when it's done. So do this a few times. Like I said, I'm starting to get stuff on my hands already from it. Comes off real easy with soap and water. Or if you've got one of those Axe loofahs, the back of those feels almost like pumice. That takes it off real easy too. Okay, so here's the putty. You can see it's all one uniform color. That's what you want to go for. Because if it doesn't mix thoroughly and evenly, parts of it won't dry in the right times that you need it to, and some parts of it will be weak. So I've already gone inside here and I've sanded down the area that I wanted to with just a little bit of 100 grit sandpaper. Just give it a rough scuffing so your epoxy putty actually can make contact and hold in there. And like I said, a little bit of this goes a long way. You don't need to glob it up on areas. You can spread it pretty thin and it will still hold. So I'm going to go right here into that little crook and just press it in with your hands. It will be sticky, so you almost gotta just kind of punch at it a little bit. Push it into the edge, right up to the edge of it. And this stuff, like I said, it'll set in about 5 minutes. It'll be fully cured in around 45 minutes, and it is hard as a rock. I mean, that little piece right there, that little piece just added so much more life to this cod piece here, and added so much more strength to it. When that does finally harden up, I will never have to worry about that piece breaking again. You can even use this plumber's epoxy putty if you're planning on putting a belt or clips onto your cod piece or any part of your armor. This plumber's epoxy putty will hold those clips in place as well if you want to attach it straight to the piece itself. It really is an incredibly versatile tool. And for $3.98, you can't argue with that bargain. And just that tiny little piece that I rolled in my hand, look how much I've gotten out of there. Just that little bit there is, like I said, it's going to ensure that this is so much more stronger. I get way more use out of it, and I don't got to worry about it falling apart. Now I'm just going to do the rest, a little bit more right here, probably a little bit right up to the edge there, a little bit there and there. Takes paint real easy. You can even go back through, put more on top of it if you want. You know, if you feel an area is still too weak, you can just add a little bit more plumber's epoxy putty right on top of it. Sticks to itself real easy as well. But yeah, that has been just a brief tutorial on strengthening up your armor. Just remember, those outside edge pieces, those are going to be your weakest points. Anything inside these valley areas here, they're going to be strong if you've got a self-leveling plastic that you're using, or if you're using aqua resin. The outer pieces are going to suffer. So fix those edges up, solidify them so you're not chipping pieces off when you're walking through doors, or giving hugs or whatnot, knuckle pounds, all that jazz. But, thanks for watching. It's been Angel Legend. Take care.